Morning, Fiona.
Morning.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join me on Culture Corner today. Really appreciate you coming in and taking part, and lovely to see you again.
Yeah, lovely to see you too. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. Obviously we've met a couple of times now, so I know who you are and a bit about your background. But for anybody listening that doesn't know you, if you could just give a bit of an overview of, what you do, who you are, your management experience, that kind of thing.
Yeah, thank you. Brilliant. So Fiona, as you said, and I'm the head of IT at Clarion Solicitors currently. So I've worked in legal tech for about 10 years with a little 5-year gap out into educational technology. So I had a little bit of change, but I started properly my IT career with Aviva, based out of York, quickly moved to Addleshaw Goddard in Leeds, and I spent nearly 10 years there, and that's where I kind of spent all of my formative part of my early management career. That's when I first started managing people, moved up into a more kind of middle, kind of heading towards senior management piece. And then I stepped out of work for somewhere called STEM Learning Limited that does a lot of professional development for teachers, and kind of got into that little world for a bit. When the opportunity came via a risk of redundancy to move back into the legal sector, and the Clarion job came up with the head of IT role, which I wanted, I just snapped back at being able to go back.
Perfect. How long have you been at Clarion now?
So coming up 10 months, which is crazy because it seems about 5 minutes, but also like I've been there forever because I knew the sector so well. It felt comfortable. It really felt like a coming home. And then people at Clarion are the most welcoming bunch ever. So I just feel part of the furniture, but also still can't believe I've not been there that long because there's so much more exciting things to do.
Fantastic. Well, I was going to sort of rewind you back because I'm always keen to understand, how did you get into tech? So from school, was it a natural when you were at school and college or uni, or what was it always, I wanted to get into tech, or did you stumble into this world?
Stumbled into it, absolutely stumbled into it. So I did archaeology at university. I really wanted to be an archaeologist, to the point where I went on and did a master's in archaeology because I still really wanted to be an archaeologist. But then life happens, doesn't it? I'm self-funding a master's, working part-time, and one day there was just no money in my account, and I thought, my goodness, what am I going to do? Still got 6 months of my master's to go, only the dissertation, so no more taught hours. And I thought, what can I do? So I went into spring recruitment in York.
I know spring.
I walked in there and said, and I just don't think you get a job like this these days, but I just walked in and said, I need a job like now. And they said, well, what are you good at? Well, I'm quite good at chatting, I said. I'm all right with computers. We'd done a computing module during my degree, and I built a website. So I thought, I'm all right with computers. They're like, would you like to work in IT support? I said, brilliant. Not knowing, I didn't know what that meant. I just get me this job. So I started, and I must admit, started at Aviva, they give you the best kind of entry level start to IT. 2 weeks in a training room with kind of dummy environments, taking kind of dummy calls, dummy things. So you just have this really safe learning environment. Then you're out on the floor doing a little bit of web chat. Then you're on the phones. And I spent 2 years there learning a lot about service desks, how they run, how they work in big organizations. Then I moved into access and governance. So I learned a lot about compliance and how to do IT right and safe. And that's kind of given me the grounding from everything that I've kind of gone on and done from there.
No way. Yeah. It's like a sliding door moment. Really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I could have been, in the Sudan somewhere digging. But no, I went into IT, and then I think it was actually at Addleshaw Goddard that I kind of made this decision where, okay, I like this. If I'm going to stay, I want to go and be, I want to go and be really good at it.
Yeah. Having been in IT for a while now, and obviously being a senior leader in IT, how important alternative routes into tech?
It's so important because you could have the biggest passion for doing tech, and I meet these people all the time. They've got servers in their bedrooms that they run, and I've never been that person. And they're so important because they've got the technical mind. They're going to be the thirst for knowledge, kind of finding out all these cutting ideas, and they're going to be able to put them into practice. But that's not the whole picture of tech. Getting the tech right and that green light blinking doesn't matter if your customer isn't experiencing that. So you can go to somebody and say, yeah, everything's working. And they go, really? Because I'm having a terrible experience. I can't load up my system every morning. I don't know how to use this system. Nothing is working. That's when you need a softer skill. That's when you need somebody who understands tech, who can train, who can publicize, who can speak. Most IT departments just have bad PR, because it's IT, grumble. Actually, you need someone who go out and sell it. And that's where traditional routes into the tech sector are so important, because that's where you'll get your customer service people, your trainers, your publicizers. They come in with an interest and an understanding, but actually they go, well, I can do all of this bit for you. And then the tech teams, people who want to go and do that, that's where they can shine and flourish. And then, like myself, I put myself in that position. I made a deliberate choice not to go into a third line team when I had the opportunity.
Right.
Because I was like, no, I want to be a people person within tech. I care about people. I care about how the teams are run, and I care about my customers and how they deliver the service that we get. So I made that choice.
Yeah, it is important, isn't it? I think old school tech, especially when you think about coders who sit in front of a laptop, and it's now, especially as the world is evolving with AI and that kind of thing, the communication piece is huge now, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's all about, my main thing, I think, is about tech adoption. So the world is becoming more digital, everything AI. We're all expected to use these tools and have a basic understanding. And the school curriculum, which I had a glimpse of when I worked at STEM Learning, is changing. They're coding in classrooms at 6 years old. They're doing so many brilliant things, but there's a huge raft of people who didn't have that at school, enter the workforce where things are changing rapidly. And it's scary. Dealing with tech is scary. It's unknown. People don't like to feel like they don't know what they should be doing, especially at their job. To take the people I work with now, you're a lawyer, a top lawyer. You should know everything. You don't want to be told that you don't know about how the system works or not. That's not a very comfortable feeling for people.
Yeah.
That's where you get the pushback, because people are nervous, scared, and they're a little bit, they don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah.
So you have to go in with these soft skills and say, I hear you, I understand. It's not scary. Here's how we can do it. And you also need to know what your customer needs. So you have to take that very human element of what somebody does every single day and translate it into the systems they're using. And that's the bit that I really enjoy.
Yeah, it makes a difference. I think you hit the nail on the head there. It's customer, isn't it? It's now, whether that's an internal customer, a lot of people think customers external, but you have your internal customers, your internal stakeholders as well, don't you?
Yeah.
I think, obviously, with us working in the tech space, there's a huge drive for getting represented groups into tech, tech returners, that kind of thing, women in tech. I know you're part of a women in tech community, and I was thinking, people listening to this, you think, actually, I'm a woman, I'm in tech, I'm not part of a community. What does that offer? Not to sell it, but, what does that offer to you? How does that benefit you, and how would that potentially benefit others being part of a community like that?
I think it's invaluable. I do. I think it's not about women in tech spaces for women, in tech only. There's lots of women in tech events that I go to that have got men or every walk of life there. It's about having a community that understands where your point of view is coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Women in Tech really kicked in for me, because I'd go to these kind of big Agile Yorkshire and events like that, which are brilliant. Everyone there was a coder. Everyone was kind of doing that thing. And I just thought, I don't really fit here, because still stereotypically in the industry, the majority, not the whole, because there's some amazing female developers and female really technical people out there, but on the whole, the majority, the more female role tends to be what I do, the senior managers, the kind of thought leaders, that sort of thing. And I was talking to these coders and I just thought, I don't belong here. And that was a terrible thought, because I was like, I fought to feel like I belong in this industry. Then I started kind of spending a lot of time with the women in tech group, especially across Leeds. And I just listening to them talk and thinking, here's my people.
Yeah.
Here's the ones who are, we've got some teams and we need to roll this out, and our business aren't quite ready for it. We're nervous about how we're going to roll it out. What's our thought behind it? And all the things that you worry about. So you're like, they all feel the same as me.
Yeah.
You don't feel odd anymore. Yeah, and then that lovely third party piece where it's actually really easy to give others advice. So you go spend a whole lunch going, if you do this, I'm sure it'll work out. I'll give a load of advice, and you go back and think, that kind of my problem that I've had that's had a little mental block, actually talking about everyone else's, I've now got an idea of what I can bring back, or a really good thing that I heard that I thought I could try. And you just feel supported. We have a WhatsApp group, and in one of our lean-in circles, and we were encouraged to, if we've done something really good at work, just put something in there. Because I think, especially as you go up in your career and you become more senior, there isn't that line manager relationship where you get that pat on the head that you do sometimes
that's true.
when you're earlier in your career. And I am a typical golden retriever, need a pat on the head. So, when I say, I was on a panel today, and I text that group of women and the WhatsApp group explodes with, yes, go you, I'm so pleased. How did it go? Love hearts, love hearts, love hearts. You're like, this is brilliant. So you've got that in your pocket, feeling supported all the time. And I think, I wouldn't want to be out of a community. I think if you find a space that's right for you, grab hold of it and try and stay there.
Do you find it's helped you grow as an individual as well?
It's confidence, because your inner voice that tells you, everyone's got an inner voice that tells them this, even, very confident external people goes, oh, well, you're not good enough. And maybe, and I do this a lot. Maybe I just got here by mistake and someone's going to say, what are you doing? Get out. Especially, as I said, literally stumbling into my first job. Sometimes you think, gosh, someone's going to find me out. And actually you go and talk to people who have come in from non-conventional careers. I'm really good friends with people who were ex-teachers, now they work in IT. They used to, maybe run their own business, or they were doing marketing, blah, 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 but now they work in tech. And you actually think, well, I 100% believe in these people. I can see how brilliant they are, and I 100% back them, but they back me. So actually, maybe sometimes you have to go, no, I'm okay. I'm doing the right thing, because you've got that community.
I love that. I recorded a podcast with a lady last week, and she's one of the senior software engineering leads at Dunelm. And we were talking about imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And I said, how do you manage? Because I don't think you can ever get over it, can you? How do you manage it? And she said, sometimes when I'm doubting myself, so it's a little bit like what you say. So sometimes when I'm doubting myself, I know I don't doubt the people that put me in this position. So I believe in the people that interviewed me, a bit like what you were saying then about you believing in network. Yeah. She said, I believe in the people and I trust the people that interviewed me. Well, if I believe in them enough and they put me in this position, then I must be right for the role. And I was like, that's a brilliant way of thinking about it. Exactly the same way as how you've looked at it as well.
Yeah, I think it's so important, because imposter syndrome is something that just lives, unfortunately, and it is really hard to mitigate. That's the whole point, isn't it? It's your inner voice telling you that you're not good enough, and very much similar to that individual. I'm the same. I trust people that put me in the role. I trust the people around me. I can see all the good in them. It can't be a mistake that I'm here.
Yeah. It's working through it, isn't it? It is actually working through it. Yeah. They're putting the pieces together and saying, right, it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you hit on something there as well. I asked somebody the other week as well, who looks after the leaders? Because you said something, the higher up you go, the lonelier it can get, isn't it? So, and a COO in Leeds who I spoke to recently, and he has a small WhatsApp group external to where he works for people in his level, just so that you've got a little bit of a community or someone you can reach out to.
You do need to do that. You think about, especially when I was younger, I knew that I wanted to be a leader. So it was all about picking up skills where I could go and be a good leader to my team. I never thought about that question of who looks after the leader. And then I realized, especially towards my kind of end of time with my previous role, kind of how burnt out I was becoming. And I wasn't looking after myself, but there wasn't easy avenues to do that, look after the leader piece. And I think that's really important. And it's actually one of the best things I have at Clarion is there's a whole team of central heads who are responsible for the central functions of what Clarion does. And it's lovely to have that peer group of, they all have the same, kind of challenges, positives, and you can talk about it, and you are part of a team instead of going, well, I'm the head of my department, which makes me feel really lonely because there's lots of things I don't want to tell my teams. Like, I don't want to go out and tell my teams about my worst day. That's not who I want to be. There's a balance, because there's being an authentic leader and saying, we all struggle with this. I struggle with that, and I want to share and I want to help. Versus, I've never want to just go and whinge at my team, because that's not productive, not helpful.
Yeah.
But sometimes that whinge, that stress release needs to go somewhere. Yeah. And to be able to go into a room of really supportive people who are absolutely cheering you on. Like, I knew the day that I stepped into Clarion, there was suddenly a group of people who were going, so excited you're here, really want to make this great. Come to me if you need help. I don't understand something internally. There's some, relationships, whatever you're not sure of, just come to me. We'll have a coffee, we'll chat it through. That is what you need. And like you say, if you can't find that internally, find it externally. You've got to find your group of people who go, it's okay.
Do you think that's vital to be, do you think it's vital when you're in your position as a senior leader, and if you're to be a successful senior leader, is to have that, just wherever you find it, just have that support network somewhere?
I think it is. I think it's on twofold.
Yeah.
The actual, personal, you as a person feeling supported, happy and well, invaluable. You've got to have your support system, family, friends, community, network, whatever works in your instance.
Yeah.
Find it, build it, pass it on. That's my advice.
Pay it back.
Exactly. And then also professionally, things happen in tech that are unforeseen. You cannot know everything. It is actually impossible, and it's not really your role to do that. It's your role to be able to orchestrate the best people around you.
Yeah.
If you don't go out and network and find those best people, when something happens, you don't have those numbers in your phone to call it. And that's just the reality. And I saw people that I've worked with 5-10 years ago who, when something happens, I go, oh goodness, hello. Can I ask your opinion? Do you know a good way of doing this? Can you just listen to me for 5 minutes and tell me that I'm not going crazy? And it's so valuable. And that's, it's how the business works. That's how it gets done.
Yeah, exactly. Some really good points there. Definitely some really, really good points for people to pick up on. I wanted to go back to your early career and I'm intrigued. How did you transition? You told us a little bit about your career. How did you transition from being an individual contributor or a team member? And was there a pivotal moment when you thought, actually, right, I don't just want to be a part of the team. I want to take myself on the leadership journey.
Yeah, it was actually when I was on my first maternity leave with my eldest. So I was on the service desk, part of their desk side support, went on maternity leave, was thinking a lot, thinking I am excited to go back. I knew I wanted to go back out, that was not a question, but what do I want to do when I go back? And this kind of life shift that happened, I was like, I really, I already knew I wanted to go and be the best that I could be. I already knew I wanted to be head of one day, director one day. I already knew these things, but how am I going to get there? Need to start getting there. So came back to work, really just fortunately a opportunity came up to be a team leader of the service desk. Well, I'd been on the service desk for years. So I was like, well, I know that. And I know the team, which was interesting. So I was like, oh no, now I'm going to go and pitch and try and be their manager. And I used to be one of them. And that was interesting. So got the job, brilliant. Loved running that service desk, just a joy, because it's a really tight knit thing anyway. I think being a service desk, you have that thing that all day people just telling you that something's wrong and it's broken. So you have to have a really good, strong team. Otherwise, you're just going to have loads of sad people and nobody wants that. So really loved it. But that kind of feeling of, all right, now I have to go and step out of being one of the gang and start doing harder things like saying, oh yeah, it's all great, fun and laughs, but the school's queuing, that sort of thing. And I think if anybody is sitting there thinking, I'm in a team right now, there's a leadership opportunity coming up, that first step, I know I really want to do it, but I'm a bit worried because I won't be friends with these guys anymore. My best advice to them is just be open. Sit down with them and say, look, I'm going to go for this opportunity. You might have to kind of choose who you do that with, depending on other characters in the team who might also want to be stepping up. But you can usually judge it, or you can do it once you find out that you've got the role, and just sit down and say, look, I don't want to stop being your friend. I don't want to stop being friendly, but there's going to have to be moments where I'm going to have to ask you to do things as manager, and I'd really appreciate it if you back me on it, or if there's something that you're worried about, we talk about it now. So it doesn't come out 6 months later when you're going, oh, I don't want to be here anymore, because nobody wants that.
Yeah, it's too late.
So just talk about it. You'll find your early adopter. That's always been my angle. You'll always find your early adopter, somebody you know that will back you, who hopefully will also be influential to bring people online. So I've been really grateful to work with some amazing people who've always been like, yeah, you can do this. And when I've got my next startup, oh, I knew Fiona could do this. No, you should follow her because she'll do right, and she'll take you in the right places. Always been lucky to have that and identify it. And it is about getting that kind of one or two people on side. Then you've got your instant internal mechanism when things maybe are challenging, or you've got kind of team things to work through, to go to those trusted people and say, we've got to work through something as a team. Let's do it. And you've got them as a voice out there in the rest of the team. And if you know somebody is up against you for the role, so I've had that as well.
How did you deal with that?
just sit them down as the earliest opportunity.
Right.
Do not let it fester is my best advice, because people fester at it. And it's, it's such an actual human emotion. Happened to me when I missed out on a job. You just start thinking, oh, what's that person got that I haven't got? and sometimes it's really just not about any of those things, is it? It's just about on the moment in the day, whatever. And also that you're being picked by somebody else. It's not your job. So just sit down, talk about it. Let them be upset. Let them be annoyed. But also ask them, okay, well, where do you want to go and how can I help you get there? Because
I like that.
I don't think there's anything useful as a leader being protective of your role. Because if you're doing your job right, you should be building in your succession plan, and your team should be able to cope without you.
Yeah,
so, especially, team leader, first manager positions, you don't want to be there forever. That's the point, isn't it? We're on the way up. That's what we want to do. So don't be hyper protective.
Don't be precious. Yeah.
Look around and look at the brilliant people that you manage, because you will be managing brilliant people who have all their own unique strengths. Ask them what they want to do. Where do they want to go? Does this one want to go and be, head of tech ops? Brilliant, push them that way. Yeah. Does this person want to go and do what you're doing? Be a people manager, be a service manager? Brilliant. Bring them along with it. And then when you go, I'm ready for my next jump, you go, brilliant. I'd really like to move on, but look what I've put in place. Hopefully that tracks and they come through on the way that you want them to.
I love that. That's two brilliant points. Early adopters and sit people down. Yeah. So as soon as would you mention it? You mentioned to people before you're going for certain people before you're going for the role, just to say, look, this is what I'm going to do. And then obviously once you get the role, sit people down early before.
I think it's all about the personalities you've got. You'll have people who will never, you've got people maybe being a team leader would be the worst thing they'd ever imagine. Yeah. Managing people, just not for them. So it's quite easy to sit down with those individuals and say, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And they might go, oh, well, actually, I never thought about you for a leader because of X, Y, Z. And you could go, oh. And it gives you a moment to kind of talk that through, because that'll come up in the interview. Yeah. Especially internal interviews, because I've always done it internally, moved kind of up mostly internally. Your internal interviewers know you really well. So if there's something that they're kind of nervous and doubting about, your colleagues probably already know that too.
Yeah.
So get a little bit of a free pass, get a free run.
That's a good idea.
I've kind of always tried to do that. So when I interviewed for the role at Clarion, which was a step up externally, my first kind of big job that I'd done going from role to role, I actually got somebody who, not my biggest critic, but he was extremely honest with his opinions, and he never would sugarcoat something for somebody. He would want to develop somebody by going, no, you need to do work on this, and that wasn't right. I got him to mock interview me because I just thought, I want to hear it.
That's brave.
If there's going to be something really scary and horrible and, you're not good enough, I kind of want to hear it from you rather than in that law firm where I really, really want that job. So I did. Yeah. And there was points where he came back and said, don't mention this, don't say that, blah, blah, blah. And his voice was in my head in that interview room where there was moments where I thought, I'm going to go off a bit into Fiona land and go a bit like fluffy, fluffy, fluffy. And actually I was like, no, just breathe. Talk about what you're here to talk about. And it was that voice. And you need moments like that.
Absolutely.
Just don't be scared to say. And you don't want to hear it. I mean, I'm not saying I want to hear all the criticism. I'm wincing. But you've got to do it.
I think that shows you as a strong character, though. There's loads of people shy away from that.
Yeah.
I'd probably earlier on in my career, definitely I'd have shied away from that, definitely. A lot of people don't like criticism or you can view it as kindness. Kind feedback enables you to develop and evolve, doesn't it? But people do shy away from that. That shows that you're able to self-reflect as well, doesn't it? Yeah.
That was definitely an evolved version of me. Like you say earlier on, no. When I went that first team leader role at Adult Dad, if anyone had told me that I wasn't good enough and I didn't know what I was doing, that would have been ultimate meltdown.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of time, and you have to put that in yourself. You have to be aware that you want to be self-reflective and try and learn, because, otherwise the barriers that you can't see that are holding you down are going to stop you from getting where you want to be.
Yeah. And is that a strategy you use now when you move into other teams? Like, who's my early adopters? And you look at your team like that just to weigh them up so that you can get to where you want to be, really, and get done what you need to do.
If I ever join a team, I always meet with everybody individually, and then I meet with everybody as a unit.
Yeah.
And to meet everyone individually is just genuinely to get to know people. It's not even that calculated. It's genuinely just to get to know them, and then also kind of prove to them that I'm human and that, it's all good, but also hear about what they want to do, what they're frustrated with, especially if you come in externally.
Yes.
And, you're joining that company for the first time. It's a brilliant blank slate moment because you can just say, yeah, brilliant. Tell me everything that you hate. Tell me everything that's going wrong.
Yeah.
You can't fix all of it. That's really not the point, is it? You want to hear. And you can kind of identify then, okay, that person is probably going to come on side with the way I want to think about doing things and approaching things, because that's kind of what they want to do. And maybe they haven't had the chance to go, oh, I'd love to roll this out, or I'd really like to do this thing this way, but currently I didn't quite know how to voice that I wanted to do it that way.
Yeah.
Oh, but we align on that. Brilliant. Okay, so let's go and let's do that together to really push that. Or I've got somebody who really thinks completely differently to me. Brilliant, because they're going to be the people that are going to teach you some lessons and also come with some great ideas.
Absolutely.
So kind of get that straight off the bat, open and honest communication. I'm all about open and honest communication. If somebody's not happy, I'd rather they come and tell me. I don't want to be hearing in an exit interview 3 months down the line, because that's heartbreaking. Losing somebody to move on to another role, a good opportunity, brilliant. I'll be cheering the hardest, and I'll, hopefully see you in the network somewhere, because I'd just be so proud. But to lose somebody because they never got quite what to do what they wanted, or they never got their voice across, that is on me. That's my fault, and I don't want.
We've talked about that in the past, haven't we? Like how important is communication when you're building cultures and you're building strong teams?
It's so important. Communication is key. Communicating what you want to do, who you are, how you operate. I always say to my team, all of my teams I've ever managed, I will always back you 100%, because I've got no reason to not. But also I like to create a secure bubble. So within the team, if we want to kind of poke fun at one another, we know someone's got a bit of a flaw and wants to laugh and joke about it and tease them, fine. But we do not do it externally. We are a unit. When I mean externally, I mean the rest of the business. Anything without them, without outside the little IT bubble, we don't do it. We do not pick each other apart in meetings. We do not blame. I will never stand in a room and go, oh, that thing went wrong, it was their fault. I will go, yeah, that's on me.
Yeah.
We know that it's gone wrong in my area. That's on me. Here's what I'm going to do to work forward. No one needs to hear about that individual's name. That's not important.
Yeah.
Because people make mistakes. People are human. I believe in having the room to fail, because it's the only way that you learn.
Absolutely.
So I do drum that ethos, and my thing's always been, I'll back you and be loyal. But if you're going to go and lie or do something overtly against the team, because I want to do it for the good of the team, it's not me, it's the good of the team, that's when we have a difficult conversation. And I think, if you're really open about that, people go, well, I can try and do this, because Fiona will back me. If it goes wrong, just hold my hands up and say, I'm really sorry, I tried something, it didn't go very well. And I go, okay, that's fine. What can we do next time to stop it from happening? I'll deal with whoever in the business is annoyed by that or been impacted by it. That's fine. That's my job.
Yeah.
It's not your job to do that. Your job is to learn, grow, deliver the best tech that we can for the business.
That's amazing. And that'll be the way that you think about it, the way you operate as a leader. That'll be, so I was going to ask you later on, how do you build trust in your teams? But that would be just a brilliant way to build trust, wasn't it? I want you to be open. I want you to be honest with me. I'll always have your back. I'm going to create a safe space for you to fail. How many leaders go in and say, I'll create a safe space for you to fail, and if we do fail, it lands on me. It will already sort of not raises decreases any concerns that anyone might have about a new leader coming into the organization.
You can't do anything without trust. You can have people who work really hard for you because of their own motives. So they might want to work really hard because they want to get the next promotion, or they're thinking they want to go to their next career step. They might work really hard just because they're a hard worker. But if they don't trust you and you can't trust them, you're never actually going to be the best team you can be. It only happens with trust, and it only happens with giving people space to grow, space to learn, space to mess up. And things go wrong. And, luckily we do work in a sector where it's not life and death. I used to say to my service desk when I was younger, no one's died today. Yes, we had 100 calls queuing. One of the major systems were down. And yes, it had an impact on our clients, and that is really serious. But nobody died today, and it's okay. And we know why it happened, and we'll be able to get back. it's people, you can take things so seriously at work, and we should, professional, serious, right? But not to the point where you're going to be really miserable. And I think there's a lot of kind of pressure in tech, and then that makes leaders who create this environment of mini pressure because they answer the business. Then you've just got a lot of really burnt out, sad people.
Yeah.
And exactly. I don't want that.
You want a team of happy people, don't you?
I do. People come in and be like, hi.
Yeah.
And, chat about and tell me about their weekends and tell me about the exciting things that's happening in their lives. And then we go on and have a really good day at work. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And if somebody in the team wants to go and do something, wants to achieve something, I want to back that. And, a lot of people, I think I've been at the end of it sometimes, where people kind of keep you in that place because you're a really good workhorse and they don't want to lose you from their team. So they think, right, well, we'll just keep them there because they're going to do a really good job.
Yeah.
That's safe. But they're the ones that are going to walk out the door because they didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yes, sometimes people have moved out of the teams that I've led and they've gone on to new and bigger, better opportunities. But I saw that as part of my success as a manager. Yeah. Yes, they've left the companies I work for, but look at them now.
Absolutely.
They're going on to do exactly what they wanted to do. And if the space that I try and create in my teams gave them a little push to do that, brilliant. Absolutely. That's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I think you see it, you'll have seen it, I've seen it over the years. So many managers react negatively to somebody handing the notice in. And there's lots, isn't there, out there about how you offboard somebody is as important as how you onboard them. And, but someone mentioned very similar to what you were saying to me a few years ago. If you've done your job correctly, and you've given those people the opportunities, like you said, to grow, experience new skills, upskill, develop as individuals, but you, unfortunately, within your team, don't have the role for them to step into, then naturally they are going to look elsewhere. But if you're enabling them on their career journey, then it's got to be a positive.
It has, and also the world is small. The tech world is really small. The tech world in the north is even smaller. You will meet these people again.
Yeah.
You want to leave, even however you've seen you are, whatever, you want to leave a good experience with these people of who you are and your truth. So when they walk back in the door and work with you again, which will happen, it's a nice experience instead of getting something across your desk and thinking, oh no, I can't work with them.
Want that. We've got history.
Exactly. And that's happened. Like I've worked with people who've left the company I was working at and then come back. Brilliant. Because they've gone on to do the next role that maybe wasn't available internally at that point. They've gained a whole load of life experience and then they've come back. And then that's just a boost, isn't it?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I know communication is key to you as a leader. We've spoke about that in the past. How do you feel about the communication that you give your team about what's going on within the wider business? I've heard so many different leaders have a different take on this, don't they? How much information from the senior leadership team or the exec team or the board, I suppose, how much pressure that you feel do you then let go through to your team?
I think it's led, so my approaches are different because it's led by the environment and that's driven by two key things. Okay. What's the culture like where you work currently?
Yeah.
Is it an open culture? So at Clarion, I'm really lucky that the culture is open. We have a management board report that goes monthly out, which gives people an idea of what's going on within Clarion.
Yeah.
That's important. That's a culture piece. That's creating open trust and communication from off the bat.
Yeah.
So you're already on to a winner somewhere like that because you're like, well, okay, brilliant. There's certain things that are just out there internally, so we can talk about them. Then the second thing that drives that is the maturity of your team. And I'm not talking about age range or anything like that. I'm talking about what's their tolerance level for hearing news.
Right. Okay.
So where I previously worked, there was a round of redundancies, things were becoming quite difficult. Something like that environment, you've got to really look at the people that you manage and go, if I tell that individual, are they going to really just get really stressed by that? Have they just bought their first home?
Yeah,
have they just got married and they're trying to plan a family? And if they hear there might be a sniff of their job being at risk, are they going to melt down because their life pressure is so big right now, they can't deal with instability at work?
Yes.
Or have you got a group of people who are really quite, just at that life point, and they're quite solid, quite resilient. And if I go, oh, something might be happening, they go, okay, great, not great, but what can we do when we move forward? You've got to judge your people always. And if you've got a lovely open culture, like where I work currently, you've still got to do that piece because there'll be facts that come out. And we always say this as a senior leadership team, you will stand in a room and deliver one fact to a group of people, and they will all hear a different thing because they're all taking it in, hearing it through their own lens of my mortgage, my husband's not very well, my mum's not very well. My kids, they hear it and then they get a different message.
Yeah.
So you've got to check in as a leader. So my thing is, and a bit of a natural umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't want them to hear all the hard, horrible things.
Yeah.
It's not their job.
Yeah.
They're not in this, they're not at that level yet. They either don't want to or they're not yet. It's not appropriate.
Yeah.
I do want them to hear the facts though, as many as I can share.
Yeah.
And I do want to be honest. But I've got to make sure I'm giving them context. I can't go X and they go, oh, what does that mean for me? Without saying, no. I'm telling you this because I want you to know what's going down the track. Or I'm telling you this because it's interesting. Or I'm telling you this because we actually can influence it. You know,
the
business wants to be more efficient, for example. How can we influence that as a team? Are we bringing in the right suppliers? Are we working with the right partners? You know, that system we all grumble about. Well, let's stop rolling our eyes and grumbling about it and start giving the business back opportunities of what they could move to make them more efficient.
Yeah.
Now we're dovetailing, underpinning that strategy for business. So it depends on your culture, your team, and where you give context. But I would say I'm an umbrella, but not a hard steel shell.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things there, isn't it? The fact that the business is open, Clarion's open as a business anyway, so information is getting fed out. Yeah. So that takes any, not worry away from you, but the certain information that goes naturally flows out.
Yeah.
I like what you said about, it goes back to the trust and knowing your team inside out, doesn't it? Because you mentioned it there. Will Adrian be worried about he's just bought a house? Will Claire be worried that she's just started a family? So do you, when you're giving a message sometimes, do you align that message to knowing the individual and how they might react to that?
Yeah, I try to be really careful that I'm not going to say anything is going to unnecessarily upset anybody.
Yeah.
And also sometimes that's previous things that have happened in their role. So silly things like, we all joke about this, don't you? Where you get the message from your boss saying, can we chat?
Yes.
And you immediately go, oh my goodness, is my CV up to date? Because you're like, that can only be bad. So I'm really trying, and I am that person. I'm a typical anxious little millennial. If you tell me you need a chat with me, I'm like, oh my goodness, panicking. So I try not to do it to my team. Yeah. So, I'm going to just pop this time in so we can talk about X, Y, Z, not just cold meeting in the diary.
Yeah.
I actually did it by mistake the other day. Well, I didn't. I didn't follow the path all the way through. You can't be perfect. That's just the headline, okay? So we were in the middle of a project. I put in the next check-in with one of my teams. So I was like, in my head, I was like, right, I just need to wrap up some things about this project. I need to do some documentation. So I'll put in a little check-in. I was like, no, because usually our culture is not so much diary check-ins. But for me, I needed to mentally put that in. Yeah. Didn't quite think about it. And I was like, no, I'm not having a go at you. No. So, oh goodness, if something actually happened, you'd know about it because we'd go and have a chat and like we normally do if anything happened. So it's all about doing that this isn't anything to worry about. I'm telling you this because I want to be honest, transparent, and I want to inform you, but it's not for you to worry about. If there's things to worry about, that's for me to worry about, or the business. It's bigger than us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But, maybe I might come and ask for your help though, as in there is something that maybe our team could do to help in this scenario.
Yeah.
Let's put our heads together and think about that. Or if it's, sometimes it's good news that you have to temper carefully. And that's crazy, isn't it? But I've learned that as a leader the hard way. Yeah. So you're sat there in these employee briefings, and I've always had them. I'm the AG, I'm the STEM, you sit there. And I'm always I'm just for the company. I'm for the good shit wherever I work, okay? So when I'm hearing something brilliant that's happening, I'm there front row like, yes, so happy for the company. I'm so excited. It means they're going to go and do this. It means they're going to have these opportunities. And somebody could be sat next to you in your team that goes, ugh, they're not investing in our team, are they? And I'm like, oh,
right, okay.
And then I'm like, oh, no, that's good news. So then you have to create that message, don't you? You have to think, right, brilliant. There's some really good news coming down the track for the business, the big business with capital B. And I need to think about what it means for my team, who might be feeling quite vulnerable, quite raw, because that leaky tap of the system that always falls over and breaks is still going on. And they keep getting calls about it every day and they're really frustrated. And I have to go, okay, really great, they're investing here. Here's what it means. If we invest here, it means we get more business in the door, we make more money. So when we come around to budget time, I can say, really need to deal with that leaky tap system, really, really do need to deal with it. And I think we can have the budget space to fight for it now. And that's on me putting the business case forward. That's on me making that argument. But if I know the business is having a really good time, I can put my oar in a little bit more, can't I?
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm kind of like checked out from that, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And then it hopefully stops the grumbles of, they never invest in IT. Because they do. They do all the time.
Yeah.
But it's easy, isn't it, to see the next glamorous thing that's maybe in the headlines.
That shiny thing,
yeah. And it's hard, isn't it? And when you're feeling a bit raw and a bit vulnerable, that becomes massive. That becomes, no one cares about us. No one cares about IT.
I never thought about that. That's a really good point. You know, some people will take positive news negatively, won't it? If it doesn't impact them in a positive manner, you know. Yeah. That's really interesting.
Everybody has their own just little bubble they live in.
Yeah.
And I think once you realise that, it helps you as a leader because you can actually kind of just take a deep breath out, because sometimes you can feel quite exposed as a leader, I think.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking at you and thinking, oh, what's she doing? And she's gone to another meeting. You know, I think you can feel quite vulnerable. But actually, they've all got their own narrative constantly. Everyone has. I have. You know, when if I see someone else walk down the corridor, I'm not really looking at them. I'm not really watching where my boss is going. In my head, I'm thinking, I've got to do this. Next update, blah 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 blah. Well, hi, how was your weekend? Like, you know, you're in your own head, and finding out what's important to your team, what's their narratives, is going to feed you to be able to give messages better. Sometimes you can deliver something in a room and just say, I know this might worry a couple of you, so, you know, but not to worry. Here's some high level headlines. Come talk to me afterwards if you're really worried. But I hope I've covered everything enough here. And sometimes you've got somebody who might have had a really bad experience. They were just made redundant in a really awful way before they came to you, or they something went really wrong with where they previously worked and they didn't understand why, and they're still carrying a bit of that jadedness, or they always got kind of squashed their ideas down. So you might have to do that differently. They might have to be the ones that you go, do you know what? I'm going to have 10 minutes with this person first, just make sure they're really okay. Then we do the group thing. And it's not about segregation. It's not about different messages. It's about, I really know that's going to hit you. And I don't want you to be sat with everyone else in the room when it hits you. I'd rather just tell you first.
Listening to you and what you say, is brilliant information for any leaders coming through. And I think it all goes back to, you can't be a great leader if you don't know your people, can you? It's impossible. You know, you just look at like the tiny little nuggets that you're sharing there of like just tweaking certain things to make sure certain people receive information in the same way. Unless you know your team, there's absolutely no chance you've been able to do that, is there?
No, and you will get the effect that I hear a lot of leaders say, where they go, oh, my team just doesn't support me. My team don't want to work. They don't want to do this. Well, actually, probably that's not true, because really, really rare for people to actually come to work and just not want to be there. Yeah. Really rare.
And want to be bad.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really actually rare. It's more they felt overlooked, judged, made to feel small. Sometimes you're healing stuff you didn't do. You know, it's a previous manager that did that to them, and they're still reeling from it. And that's hard sometimes, isn't it? Because you're picking up the pieces and putting them back together of something you didn't break.
Yeah.
But you've got to spend time doing it. Otherwise, your relationship with that person is going to continue like the old manager did.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. Can I ask you one thing, something you've mentioned to me before when we were having coffee last time? You were saying, I asked you how important is managing up.
Yeah.
And then you were saying you always think about the information that you want people to walk away with when you are managing up, if you like. Can you just explain to the listeners a bit about that?
Yeah, so this is something a previous manager gave me some brilliant advice. So when I was first kind of trying to step up and be a bit more senior, so stop doing so much of the doing and be more strategic in my thinking, a really good ex-manager of mine gave me some brilliant advice, and she said, you've got your 3 levels of communication. You've got what you want people to walk away with, and then the audience you're delivering it. So if it's the board, I want them to walk away reassured with a key fact of, I'm asking for X, investment of time, money, support, and everything else is as expected.
Yeah.
You know? Then, okay, so that's the board. That's the vision. That's what we want to deliver. But okay, so then the other senior people at my level, I want them maybe to invest with me because I want them to be able to push that narrative across the business. So IT are going to roll out this thing because, and we're all going to get on board as the other departments, because we're going to work together as a central function. So you want them to walk away with a really clear idea of what you want, what you want them to do. And then when you deliver it to your team, that's really granular. I want to deliver this. You're going to do X, Y, Z to enable it.
Yeah.
And those are your 3 sessions. It's the same message. It's I want to roll out this system. The board just want to know why, how it's going to benefit the business.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, how much? Yeah, return on investment. Yeah.
Your level of leadership need to know, what does it mean for everybody else? What's positive? What's negative? What can we do to publicize it? What we can do to get everyone on side? Your team need to know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So if you come into your team with big strategy, I'm going to do this, it's going to be amazing, and you expect them to sit there and clap, they're going to go, what does she want us to do? What? Yeah. I sit there and go, the 3 pillars I have internally are service excellence, digital architecture, security. If I just said that to the team full stop, and they go,
you have to look at like that.
But you break it down. Within those, I would like you to do X, Y, Z. Okay, fine. I know what to do now. Because I've had managers like that where they've got brilliant ideas and you listen to them and think, wow, that's amazing. That's so inspiring. It's really brilliant. They walk out of the room. Oh, am I meant to deliver that?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make those 2 things happen.
Come together, yeah.
And I don't have any steps in the middle to do that. And that's where it's really important. That's where you've got to think about, it's that old, it's like slideshow training I had years ago. You put on the top the contents. What are you going to learn in this session?
Yeah.
At the end, you put another one. This is what you should have learned in this session. It's that, isn't it? It's every chat is really that.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
It's a bit in the middle. But I remember I wanted you to do this.
Yeah. It's interesting. And also understanding what people at certain levels want from you.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, communicating with the board there it's very specific, isn't it, of what they need. And then your communication at the other levels is different. So it's not just understanding as a leader, especially at your position. It's not just understanding your team. It's understanding the other units within the business as well and managing above you.
It's a lot of listening.
Yeah.
I think, in communication, we talk a lot, don't we, about the communication we're going to make.
Yes.
That's really easy, isn't it, as a leader to think, well, I'm going to go and say this. I'm going to say that. A lot of it's also listening. If you're not listening to everything, you're not going to be able to do that. So if I'm not sat in meetings where all the managers across the business are meeting, I'm not going to listen to what's happening in the other teams. I'm going to miss my chance to deliver my message really well.
Yeah.
Because you've got to pick up. And somebody said when I first joined Clarion, I was watching you today. It's really interesting because you were just watching everyone. So yes, I'm not a stalker. I just wanted to see when things were said, how it landed.
Yeah.
Because it's so important, because then you get to know where the pinch points are. And I've always done that. I've always wanted to know people's reactions to things, because it goes to the kind of very inner core of me that I am an absolute people pleaser, and my default is I'd never want to upset anyone. So professionally, actually, it comes out of I don't really want to deliver a bad message if I can do something to try and stop it. So I will be watching and listening, and I think that's so key.
It's important, isn't it?
Listen to your team, listen to your peers, listen to your management board, what they want. Deliver those 3 things. It might be the same piece of work, but you're just delivering it differently.
That's a really good tip. That is a really good tip as well. And leading on to that as well, something you've mentioned to me that you do. You always champion what you're doing within your team, don't you? Now, I don't know whether some leaders do it, not everybody does it, but tell me about that. You basically want to showcase your team, don't you?
Yeah.
Why is it important, and how do you do it?
I think in tech, probably more than most industries, it's so important, because if everything's working, if all the tech's working, no one cares. If I come in the morning, I open my system up, my emails load really quickly, I can open my first Word document of the day, and I'm away, I'm happy. You don't even think that there's actually loads of little building blocks to get you there. And also it's not your business to do that, but you just won't see it. It's not like, oh, catering didn't turn up today, so now we've got no food. Sometimes it's not as obvious as that when little good things happen and little negative things happen. Also, people really don't understand tech. It's like a mystery. IT in the basement. It's confusing. It costs a lot of money. So what is this big expensive black hole doing? you don't want to feel that. I mean, I've worked in teams which have nearly been offshored. I've worked in teams that have been made risk of redundancy. You know, those threats to you as an internal, especially because I've always worked in-house, always worked for an internal IT team. I've never worked for a tech company. All those threats to your internal unit are those things are getting outsourced, offshored, replaced. How do you protect them? It's got to be about publicising. I say it all the time. It's one of my biggest mantras. Most IT departments, most tech things just have bad PR departments, you know? And I am one woman band PR department for my team. I've got to get out, shout.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of my time, my team gig all day, thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to write. Like, I write blogs internally. I write blogs externally. You've got to think about what's the next messaging. Because all that physical work that the team does and works really hard to make sure it happens is just lost. You know, what does IT do? Well, they came around the other day and replaced my keyboard. So you know what else they do? Well, that's just not even the half of it, is it? And I don't want to shove it down people's throats, but I want to make sure that they can see all the work, see all the good things. So when people come around and say to me, oh, you know, I know the team's doing lots of well, you know, because you were saying the other day in the meeting that phishing attacks have gone down because you've got a system in place and it's catching more. And, you know, I know you've done that. I know your team's done that. That's important.
Yeah, because you get the recognition for the things that happen. But people, unless you've emphasised what you do, or as you said, celebrated what you do, showcase what you do, people won't know, will they? No. One of the things that I wanted to touch on that we've spoken about in the past was biggest challenges as a leader. What was your biggest challenge to date, you think, in your leadership career, if you like?
Yeah, I think it was. So my biggest challenge was becoming a senior leader.
Right. Okay.
And the fight that it took to get there. Not to be negative, but so I think I fell into a trap that I can now see. I could not see it at the time, where I was just doing everything because that's me. That's the natural people pleaser. My currency was, you give it to me, I'll take it away and do it invisibly, you know, and then hand it back to you. So I get my pat on my head because that's what drives me. So I was doing, spending every night, working till 10 o'clock at night, you know, well, we need a data transfer done, or well, we could pay, you know, an external consultant to code it and do it, or I could manually move the data overnight by myself. I'll manually move the data overnight by myself. You know, anything to prove that I was doing my best. And then while I was in my previous role, I went up for the head of IT role there and it came available. And the previous head of IT had coached me. He'd done his succession planning, you know, and I was like, this is my time. This is going to be me. I've got everything. I know the business inside out. I work really hard. I work so hard, so hard. And I'm sat there and I'm chat. And I did have ideas. It's not that I didn't have any strategic ideas. It's just all they could see was this person who went away and fixed things for them. Well, how can that person that went away and fixed something be the driver of change? And I didn't get the role. And it was crushing. And the feedback I got, and it was one of the hardest things I heard, was the COO at the time said, if I wanted the department to stay exactly as it is, run well, but exactly as it is, I would have picked you all day long. But we don't want that, so we can't pick you.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like a punch.
Wow.
So then I had to be interim head for 6 months, awkwardly, until the new person arrived. So I did that. And again, I just tried to work as hard as I could during those next 6 months because I was like, surely they can see what I'm doing. And then the new head of IT started. And, you know, I was the one showing her around and doing all the lovely things, introducing her to everyone, thinking at the back of my head, oh, goodness, why not me?
Yeah.
And then in the first week, she sat me down. She'd obviously seen me as a problem child. No, she'd obviously was doing that lovely thing that you should do. That person didn't get the role. I better sit down with her and check she's okay. And she's one of the most brilliant, strong people I've ever met. And she just looked at me and said, why are you making yourself irrelevant? And I was like, oh, I wanted to scream. Honestly, I could have screamed. I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
I think I did cry. It was just so unfair. Like, oh, no. Exactly. Just so unfair. And I was like, but you don't understand. I work so hard. I do everything. I do this. She went, yes, you do. All you do is do. She's like, no one's going to see you. There's a person who's going to go and give us our next direction.
Wow.
If you keep doing. She was like, you need to stop doing. And then my world just cracked. I didn't know if I could stop doing. I was like, maybe this isn't for me. I had a real big, awful turmoil. Yeah. Bless her. And she stuck with me because I was just really upset. And so she said, I'm going to create a function. We need it, but you're going to run project management office. You're going to run the PMO. You're going to be the gatekeeper. Nice. You're not going to do anything key. You're not going to do anything. You're going to get people to do things for you. You're going to orchestrate and you're going to deliver back to senior people. So I'm getting you a ticket into all the senior meetings that you wouldn't normally be able to be in because you're not the head of. But I'm going to get you your ticket there so they can start seeing you in a different way. So you can start seeing yourself in a different way. And honestly, if she hadn't given me that advice, hadn't given me that space, good leaders give their people space to grow and learn. They're not protective. She wasn't slamming the door after her. She was leaving it open.
Yeah, this is my job now. Yeah.
And if she hadn't done that, I would not be the head of IT at Clarion. I wouldn't.
It's amazing, isn't it? Sometimes the people you meet have such an impact on your career, such an impact, and I'm going to say a little tweak because essentially probably a little tweak.
It was psychologically massive to me. Yeah. Very small on paper.
Yeah. But for her to be brave enough to shows her a strong leader to be able to sit down with you and say, what about this? But also shows what a strong lead person you are individually. Then to take that on board and go, right, okay, here we go again, and take on board what she said.
Yeah.
It's amazing, that, isn't it? Yeah. You think, just by doing everything you do, people just take on more and more. I've been guilty of myself. If you want something, go, I'll do it, and you're sinking under the weight of it, aren't you?
And also you're just so angry because why not me? That's the rhetoric you end up living. Why not me? I do everything for these people. If I walked out the door, all of this stuff wouldn't be done. And the crushing truth is, it would.
Yeah.
I know that's heartbreaking. They'd hire somebody else and they'd ask them to do it.
To do so, yeah.
What, no one's irreplaceable, but to become really invaluable within a business, you've got to be able to lead direction and you've got to be able to influence people in a positive way, and you've got to be able to get people behind you. If you're constantly stuck in doing, you don't actually have the headspace to do it. Even if you're the most natural leader in the world and people will follow you to the end of the earth, if you don't have headspace to do that, you're all just going to be stuck doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And me sitting doing data updates every night and rolling, manual changes and manual fixes every night, covering up that my team were drowning because I wasn't asking for investment. I was just doing tickets on an evening so they wouldn't drown. Yeah, yes, I was protecting them.
Yeah.
They were okay.
Yeah.
But I wasn't asking the senior people for what we needed. I was just making everything look lovely.
Yeah, you weren't creating a longer term solution.
No. Yeah. And I was just stuck in this place and I couldn't see it until I literally had to have it shaken out of me, metaphorically. But, I needed that. I needed that. And it would be my biggest advice is if you are sat there thinking, I do everything, why am I never picked for the next role? Why am I not leading my own team? Or why am I not the most senior person in my team? Just take a breath. Just what little rat race are you stuck in? Are you doing everything? Are you actually enabling people? Are you giving them space to do other things? Are you giving the business a chance to see you in a different light? Do a little bit of thinking. And if at the end of the day you think, gosh, I really wish I could be XYZ, but I never had the headspace to think about it, that's another key marker.
Yeah.
Doing too much. Because
you
deserve headspace to think, what can I do next?
How can you move on? Yeah. That's a really good point for future leads or anybody in a leadership role now or on their journey. That is a really good point. So would you just touch on that last bit? Would you say it's like personal brand as well is important? Is it in if you're going to make that move up into senior leadership roles?
Yeah, because I think I thought I had a really good personal brand.
Yeah.
Because my personal brand was, I'll take it away and fix it.
Yeah.
And that is good, isn't it? You do want your senior leaders to have that air of when something really bad happens, they will go away and it will become resolved. But I was missing that key bit that it didn't have to be me that went and did it. And actually, there is lots of wonderful technical people that are more capable of doing that actual fixing than me.
That's a good point,
and I think it's really helped me reframe and I actually said it in my interview at Clarion, I'm not the most technical person. I am technical, I've learned a lot over the years, but I'm not the most technical people. What I'm really good at is getting the right technical people in the room, really good at looking for who's got the right stuff and what I need, and making sure that we have access to those. I'm really good at looking at our partners and seeing which ones are benefiting us and which aren't. I'm really good at looking at where we're throwing bad money after bad and not investing in good. So yes, I can go away and fix it for you, but it won't be me doing it. It will be the right people, and I will be orchestrating that. And if the team is healthy and the trust works and you've done all those things, they should want to do that with you.
Yes.
And then you go back and deliver it. And that is the department's success. And that's what you're offering.
Absolutely. It's like plugging in people in different roles that are better than you, isn't it? More experience. Yeah. Never be the smartest in the room type thing.
I've always said one of my favorite things about working in tech is I get the privilege to work with all these amazing, clever people.
Yeah.
And I'm not the smartest in the room. Good. Hopefully I'm maybe like, the person with the best soft skills in the room. That's what I like to try and strive for. But I'm not the smartest. It's people that are so much smarter than me get the privilege of watching them work, get the privilege of shouting about them, telling people how brilliant they are. Oh, that person in your team's, they're not very personable. They don't come to X, Y, Z. That doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, actually, because what they're doing, is irreplaceable. Yeah. I can't do that for them. We need their skills. We need this. This is actually what they spend their time doing. Oh, that's funny. I never knew that. Oh, you're right. Yeah, if we didn't have that person, we wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. That's my role.
Yeah, perfect. And it's working. So long may it continue. I'm conscious I've been bending your ear for a while now, so an hour pretty much. I wanted to ask you, because it's on everybody's radar. You constantly see it in publications, LinkedIn, it's forefront, AI. Last question, how is AI impacting sort of your role in the legal sector at the moment?
AI is having a massive impact on everything at the moment. And there's this brilliant line that we keep repeating internally is that, AI will not replace your job as a lawyer, but if you as a lawyer don't use AI, it will probably replace you by a lawyer that is using AI.
Yeah.
Because it's out there. Our clients are clever, switched on people.
Yeah.
They know that AI is out there. So what can we do? And Clarion is embracing everything, all the good, all the bad, but they're testing, the trialing, they're building it. And I think that's what's really important, is just being open. There's tech giants to go and lead the AI journey. We've just got to make sure that we've got the right tools for our lawyers to use, whether that's AI or not. That's still our job as an internal, tech and ops teams, is just to give them the best tools they have. If they're AI and they save efficiencies, they save time, brilliant. And I've always seen AI as allowing people to do higher value work. So instead of doing that, that 50, 60 step repetitive process over and over again, why not let automation AI take the load? Then you get to do that higher value work. That's more time out meeting your clients. That's more time work winning. That's more time being able to actually, research the black letter law and really understand it. That's more time doing those things that the lawyers want to do. That's why they became lawyers. To do
the mundane, if you like.
Gives them that ability to do it. It's not here to replace everyone's job. There's so much fear. Will it change people's jobs? Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you can't get on the change curve, if you're the person that's just closing your eyes and putting your fingers in your ears, okay, it might cost you something. It might. That's the reality. But if you're going to embrace it, it won't cost you your job. Just like when email came, we suddenly all didn't lose our jobs. We all got mobile phones. We didn't lose our jobs. Tech happens, tech changes. It's your ability to run with it and change. Does it feel scary? Yes, it's new. Anything that's new that feels scary. Is it having a massive boost at the moment? Yes, but we've already identifying, aren't we, the pitfalls. It's not always 100% accurate. You have to know your stuff to be able to work with AI, because otherwise it will spit out something that's not right and you won't catch it. And in a legal sense, that is where we fall over. That's where, we can't have that. We can't be going into cases with stuff that's made up. We just can't. So you've got to, and I do, if there's only one worry I think I would have about AI, it's the junior market. We've still, as employers, and this goes for legal, it goes for tech, it goes for every industry, we as employers still need to make space to bring in our junior people and to train them on our practices are our specialisms.
Absolutely,
because when they use those AI tools, and they will because they're everywhere, they needed to know enough to be able to interrogate it. So when I go to, ChatGPT and say, this error keeps coming up and I want you to help fix it so the team is stuck, I know enough. If it comes back with nonsense, I know enough because I've worked in IT for 15 years to go, no, that's not right. Try again. That won't fix it. That's wrong.
Yeah.
So we need that.
Yes.
And so my only worry is for the junior market. And it's so important we invest in our young people. And it's important above everything that we teach them to think critically.
Yeah.
I think that is the biggest skill we all need to learn, because otherwise we're not going to be able to challenge AI. We're not going to be able to tell it when it's wrong.
Do you think that's the biggest skill for the younger generation?
I know.
I'm knocking on a bit. For the new entrance to the job market is more pivoting to the soft skills, the critical thinking, the ability to challenge. Like you said, that it's so easy to take chat's response.
Yeah.
Or whichever product you use, chat's response to say that's face value, but quite often it's not. All you have to do is ask a question again.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, no, good point. You could consider this.
Because all AI is built to be plausible. It essentially is the ultimate people pleaser. It wants to make you happy. So it's going to tell you something it thinks make you happy. You've got to interrogate it. You've got, people now, aren't they? A friend will show you a video. Oh, look at this video. Can you look at this kitten? Can you imagine what this kitten is doing? That is AI. The kitten is never going to sit there and do that.
Yeah.
Think about what you're being fed.
Yeah.
Bringing those critical thinking skills, I think it is the most important thing that we can teach our young people. I got this question at a panel once. What can we teach our young people? If you've got children, family, people in schools, what can you teach them? It is critical thinking.
Yeah.
Challenge them on what's real.
Yeah.
And what benefit it not being real gives them. It's funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, if it's for a funny video, okay, fine, you're not causing any harm. But if you're creating things that aren't real, why? And what benefits it's actually giving them?
Yeah.
Because it might not serve them very well if they've learned kind of all their knowledge built on the kind of hodgepodge kind of facts that chat is about. It's not going to do them wrong. It's a bit like, cheating in the old days in an exam.
Yeah.
If you're going to put half of some other professor's words in your paper because you're just rushing to get your paper in university, you're going to get found out.
Yeah.
If you put basically an AI spat out response in something, you're going to be caught out.
Yeah. 100%.
Think about why you're using it. Do I use AI? Yes, I find it extremely useful. It gets rid of blank page syndrome for me. I've got to write this thing. I've got to write a policy. I've got to write a guide. I've got to write a this. Okay, here's my original thoughts. Chat, you tell me what you think, and it'll come back with something. And then actually you're like, oh no, because we're humans, we love to be critical.
Yeah.
Nonsense, rewrite it. I'm much better than this. And it helps you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let it go and do everything.
No.
I wouldn't trust it to do that.
No. It's helpful to give you a start. If you've got memory block, isn't it? If you're trying to start something or a blog or a post or whatever you're doing, it gives you that bit. But you need to be over the content as well, don't you?
Absolutely. And you need to know your stuff.
Yeah.
So keep learning, everyone.
Keep learning, questioning. Yeah, that's the big thing, isn't it? Keep questioning, I think, is the way forward and the message to give. So, Fiona, thank you so much. It's been brilliant. Thanks so much for your time.
It's
been
so
amazing.
Welcome. It's been brilliant.
Yeah. I hope you've enjoyed it. And it was lovely to have you on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.